Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino. Monday, January 16, 2023. This is my newest segment of Markets Look Ahead. As most of you know, if you're watching this, the market is closed today for the observance of Martin Luther King Day. All right, people, with that said, let us talk because we just got what I think is a pretty big, well, a shocker. How about no? So Goldman Sachs, the Wall Street super bank, okay, they're admitting here that the jobs data as of late is quote unquote inaccurate. I want you to look this up for yourself. Now, I don't think this is a surprise to a single person that follows this blog. I don't believe any of the data at all. That's part of what I've been explaining and what we have discussed here for years. The data is fake. The data is pure propaganda. What do we know is going on right now? Corporate layoffs are like out of control. Tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people are being laid off. But meanwhile, the last jobs report that we just got last week here, first-time unemployment claims come in better than expected. Go back and look at the video. I said it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. We are living in really a completely propagandized environment. Look here, don't look here, distractions, deceptions, lies, and it just keeps going on and on here. But it's kind of interesting to hear from a Wall Street superbank themselves that the data is, it's inaccurate. Okay, it's inaccurate. Lovely. Basically, they're saying it's fake. And I don't think this is a surprise to you or me. Now, talking about a narrative change. Now, look, we all understand, as we just covered here, propaganda, deceptions, distractions. So since Friday, all right, I don't know how many of you are watching the mainstream channels here. Here's the narrative across not just the financial channels, but even the regular news media. They're being told to push a new narrative. And that new narrative is this: the Fed has won on inflation. Basically, they're trying to sell you yet another lie. And they're using this new word here, disinflation. How many of you even know what disinflation means? Probably not too many of you. Disinflation is basically a way to describe in a kind of vague way, okay, the word disinflation, that inflation continues to rise, but at a slower pace. Duh. Can I please get a duh? Maybe two duhs here. This is something you and I have discussed at length here. So the mainstream media is pushing this disinflation narrative to try to sell you some kind of a falsehood. Yes, inflation is continuing to rise, and absolutely it does appear, according to the data, if you want to believe it, okay, Goldman Sachs says don't believe it, that the pace of inflation, its meteoric rise, seems to be slowing. But this has nothing whatsoever to do with what the Federal Reserve and other central banks are engaged in right now. They're raising rates for many months now, promising us that sometime in the future inflation is going to reverse and it's just going to get lovely and we're going to wake up one day and it's going to just be some kind of utopian society. How about no? People, I'm telling you right now, if you don't get it, I don't know what to tell you. Do your own research on this, honestly. I look at the real data, or what I can come up with here, all day long, morning, noon, and freaking night. I live for this stuff. And I'm telling you what we're going to see moving forward is pretty much right in our face, and that is currency devaluation. Okay, let me explain this to you in case you don't know. This Ukraine war that's going to go on and on and on, that hundreds of billions, soon to be in the trillions of dollars, are going to be thrown at here. This is a mechanism to also devalue the currency. Devalue the currency, devalue the dollar here. Again, you know how this system works. When the overall pool of currency on a global level is added to, it devalues the currency. And as you all are well aware of here, the mechanism here is to continue to pull cash into the now. This is the real root cause of inflation here, what we're seeing. What are central banks doing right now? Well, they're telling us they're deliberately trying to kill demand. Kill demand. You kill demand by killing the man or woman, making their lives exceedingly difficult moving forward. So what are they doing? They're trying to, and they are being very successful at crushing the global economy by crushing the consumer. You understand? How does that work here? Isn't the job of a government to see that its citizens are prosperous and doing well? Well, if you answered yes to that, you're totally wrong. The job of any government is to allow itself to survive and thrive. Itself, not the people. Okay, here in the United States, we tried to break away from the serfdom rule underneath some kind of a king, okay, and create a governmental system of the people, by the people, for the people. That was a nice concept. But soon as we allowed central banks, no more the Federal Reserve here, to take over the financial system, well, it was over at that point. Central banks won. And what they've been doing since that time is working towards their goal to one day own it all. Henceforth, why you're seeing this phenomenon here occur in the debt market. What do we know, people? Look, it always comes down to what we know. We have a global financial system that is debt-based, meaning that without the relentless acquisition of debt, pulling debt into the now out of the future, it doesn't function. It locks up. The system is just done. Okay. Henceforth, why wars, expanding wars, warp speed vaccines, new variants here that they must now find a new one of these to sell to the public here. Okay, and whatever else. It's going to get worse and worse moving forward. Again, new reasons must be created out of nothing using fear as a tactic to pull cash into the now. It's so simple for the mainstream media outlets to control the minds of men and women, because most people sit there and they watch this thing and they believe it. It has become a religion to people. Okay, it's gospel truth. What people hear coming out of the tell, lie vision. All right. These are programs. They're called programs for a reason. They program your mind into believing things that are completely false. And it's a very simple narrative to carry forward here, because that's part of the upbringing of every single human being on this planet that has access to a modern society. Modern society in aggregate is based on telling children falsehoods as soon as they are able to comprehend things. Believe in this, that's not true. Believe in this fairy tale, that's not true. It's a way of, again, controlling the minds of people from when they are very, very young, and have them grossly opposed to hearing any kind of truth. That's why blogs like this are very dangerous, why you are dangerous, why I am dangerous, because we're out here trying to shed light on what is actually going on, and people can't handle it because, again, they've been lied to from a very, very young age here, from childhood. As soon as they're able to comprehend things, they're told to believe in things that are just not so, and it really does play on their minds, and they're unable to handle hearing anything that is real, and they become very angry about it. It's astonishing, but that's the society that we live in. It's being molded that way, and that mind molding starts again in childhood. Anyway, so as I was saying, it's pretty, to me, and I want you to look this up for yourself with this Goldman Sachs here. Goldman Sachs. And, these jobs numbers are inaccurate. It's all inaccurate. It's all fake. It's all part of the propaganda machine. You all know that. And this new thing here, this disinflation narrative, the Fed has won on inflation. Well, obviously central banks have won on inflation. And maybe that's the kind of the joke on this whole thing. Central banks are going out of their way to create more inflation. Where does a central bank's power reside? If you follow this blog, you know the answer right off the top of your head. It's in their ability to continue to inflate. The nanosecond a central bank is not allowed to inflate, henceforth why they have no oversight whatsoever, the moment we can take that power away from central banks, in other words, preventing a central bank, just one. Let's just choose the Federal Reserve for a moment. If you or I had a real leader, or we had a real system of the people, by the people, for the people, and we were able to take down a central bank by stopping them from doing one thing. You know what that one thing is? From issuing a single dollar. If we could stop the Federal Reserve from issuing $1, one extra dollar of debt, this system ends right there. It would end the entire central bank run debt-based system. If you can take down one central bank, it will start a flow of events that would wipe out every single central bank on this planet Earth. Without taking the financial system back, without going back to a wealth-based system based upon a commodity here, gold. Why? Let me ask you this. Why did our forefathers here in the United States want to use gold to back the currency? In other words, a wealth-based system. Anybody have a guess here? Okay, because gold throughout the millennium has proven to be the most stable asset ever. It's the most stable asset on the planet, period, the end. Physical silver is my favorite because I believe it's the most undervalued asset in the history of the world. But gold is the most stable. Don't believe Greg Mannarino, okay? I want you to let your fingers do the walking, open up a search engine, and do your thing with that here, okay? What is the most stable asset in the world? Okay, and you'll find it is gold here. Anyway, with that said, again, I want you to realize what you're going to see moving forward. And I was writing a few things down here. Currency destruction, currency devaluation. All right, this is a huge, huge thing moving forward here. A lot more inflation, more distractions, more deceptions, more fake data. Okay. Extreme job losses moving forward. Again, what is the Federal Reserve? What are central banks hell-bent on doing? Notice the wording here, hell-bent on doing here. They're hell-bent on killing the economy. To kill the economy, they have to crush the consumer. And that, of course, is the main goal here, is to force consumers to borrow more. And this is obviously working out phenomenal for them. Household debt, personal debt, credit card debt off the Richter scale. People, all of you are telling me, yes, Greg, I'm seeing what you're telling people. That is, you're going to get, without even asking for them, increases in your credit line. This is what they're doing here. These ninja loans, no income, no assets, no anything. That banks are now, Bank of America, just started issuing to minorities here. They're going to start off here with minorities. They want to trap them worse off than they already are in their scheme to enslave the population here. And unfortunately, what's going to happen here, they're taking the most vulnerable here of society, and they're starting with them, all right? And then they're going to progress as former members of the middle class again fall into that lower rung of society. I'm talking about on an economic basis, socioeconomic basis, and crush them even harder as they make their move to a new feudal system, overlords and the serfs here, period, the end, like I've been telling you since time immemorial. Now, if you want to look over here at the market, okay, where's the market going in all of this? If we know, number one, that disinflation, this is the word, I'll use their word, disinflation is going to be the new catchphrase moving forward, meaning inflation is still rising, but at a slower pace. So inflation is going to continue to rise. I don't give a shit about the pace. You understand? Inflation is going to continue to rise. Okay, that means you got to try to get yourself in the right spots here. That is, we're not going to change a damn thing. Betting against the debt, becoming your own central bank, holding hard assets, physical assets, gold, silver, getting exposure to commodities moving forward. Commodities are real things. Again, I've been telling you this forever. I put out a whole list of ETFs, exchange traded funds, in my free newsletter. Link in the description of this video. I've spoken about several here over the years in this video blog. People, this is where you need to be. And I'm going to tell you this, people. Look, when Bitcoin hit 16,500 just several weeks back, I told you I was getting bullish on it. Look where we're at now, just about 21,000. I think there's a potential here. Again, understanding how this is going to happen here. Realizing the debt isn't a bubble beyond anyone's wildest dreams. Okay, it's going to get hyperinflated from here. It's going to burst at one point by design. Cash is just going to bleed. No, it's going to bleed out of the debt market like you can't believe, putting an enormous amount of pressure on the stock market, which is going to sell off like people have no idea. Cash is just going to move into commodities like you can't believe. And also, and I've been telling you this since time immemorial, and I believe into cryptocurrencies as well. So there's a potential here. So I'm not saying you need to go all in on any one asset here. You got to be somewhat diversified. I'm extremely diversified across the board, and that's how you can't ever. I know there's a lot of people that are going to go against what I'm saying here, but you can't be all in on any one particular asset. You got to be spread out. That's just the way it is, people. Okay, that's at least for me. Okay, maybe for you, you have to come up with your own plan here, and there's nothing wrong with it. Everyone has a different perspective, and you're allowed to have it. You're allowed to have your own perspective. You're allowed to disagree with me too. Anyway, what else did I write down here? So in order for this market here, let's talk about the market itself. Let's forget about the economy. The global economy is under attack deliberately. The individual citizens themselves are under attack by central banks. It's a war. The central banks have declared war on the people of the world. They're crushing the economy, crushing the consumer. So with that said, the disconnect between the stock market and the economy, this gap in the middle, is going to get wider. You understand? This stock market can potentially go much, much higher, even if the economy continues to free fall. There's no connection here anymore. Okay, none, zero. When you have central banks who are rigging the system, artificially suppressing rates, it creates an environment of risk. Cash goes into equities, into the stock market. So the illusion here must be maintained. The illusion of stability in the debt market. And this is twofold. Stability in the debt market, maintaining, again, let's say the 10-year yield here in the United States, stable. Doesn't really move here too much, staying in a very, very tight range. Global bonds not selling off here. Again, keeping that relatively stable as well. With regard to the currency, keeping the US dollar on a relative strength basis weak. You understand? If these two things occur, and maybe a third, that is crude oil playing here, the stock market's going higher. Keep your eye, again, people, look. I don't personally care if you use this or not, but those of you who are astute and understand the game, keep your eyes on the MMRI, Mannarino Market Risk Indicator. We already know where the red lines in the sand are. Okay, there is a link to it, MMRI, in the description of this video. It's free 100%. There's no sign-ups. There's no nothing. I'm not selling you something. So like I said, I don't care if you look at it or not. But to stay on top of this, you should be watching the MMRI every single day. This is the best, in my opinion, okay? Yes, I created it, but it's the best risk indicator for the stock market in the world. It allows you to gauge risk in the debt market, and that comes up with a number, and that number is color-coded. It allows you to say, okay, you know what, risk is too high according to the MMRI, I want to get out of the market, or risk is low. What they're doing now, if you notice, the MMRI has been dropping as central banks are buying more. They're buying more debt to keep the illusion real, or keep the illusion seeming to be real, you understand, in the debt market. Anyway, people, look, kind of a long video, but I covered so much stuff with you. I want to hear from you. Disinflation. How about disinformation? Maybe really what we should be looking at here. I think we all know what's going on. We know what to do about it. We know why we're doing it, okay? I think that's what makes this blog so important, is not only do we gain a perspective on what's happening, we're taking action. This channel is for men and women of action. Not people who want to sit on their asses and do nothing. You understand? And then getting this information out there, spreading it out. I count on all of you to do it. Please, if you think I covered things here that are important, I'm going to ask you for two things. Hit that thumbs up. I don't know where it is. Maybe down here. Okay. And just share the video. Get it out there. All right. Look, this is a team effort. All right. This guy here loves you a lot. I promise to see you all in the morning unless something drastic happens during the day today. We'll get a handle on it as we always do. And we're going to stay so far ahead of the curve. All right. See you tomorrow.